How beautiful art thou, how beautiful art thou, how beautiful art thou. Come and walk with me. Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to a question and answer session with some individuals who are sharing space with me here in Los Angeles, West Los Angeles to be exact, at the Gateway, a portal for health and wellness. And I would like to invite you to participate through your consideration of the questions that are brought up and the answers that are given. Thank you.
A lot has been said about when Kundalini awakens that you have a full spinal sweep, which obviously would start at the base of the spine and go all the way up through the crown chakra. The question I would have is that something that happens just once, or is that something that would repeat several times in your lifetime? And as a partial to that question, is it possible to have partial sweeps either before or after, where it goes up but doesn't go all the way?
The spinal sweeps. There is only one first time. There is only one first time for the spinal column to become infused with the Kundalini, from base to top, and that one time is particularly the most powerful event that the person will have. This is also the event that people will wish to rediscover over and over and over. They constantly are searching to reclaim that one moment of bliss and ecstasy that typically accompanies the primary spinal sweep. After the primary spinal sweep, yes, you can have many other spinal sweeps. You can have partial spinal sweeps. You can have the energy going up just part way up the spine, working on a section of the spine, going all the way up to the top of the head and coming down and forming kind of a resonant vibration. All very similar to out-of-body experiences, with the vibrations going from head to toe, and increasing in their vibration, in the rate of the vibration. So partial spinal sweeps and secondary full spinal sweeps are all well within the range of the experience for the individual experiencing the spinal sweep. However, there is only one first time, and that first time will typically be the strongest for a full major spinal sweep.
Does that first time permanently or alter you and change you inside to where it's irreversible? In other words, do things happen during that first sweep that change your thinking, change your outlook? In other words, does it stay with you?
Yes. There's a lot of material and transformation that happens during that primary spinal sweep. And it is unalterable after that fact. Okay, that spinal sweep is setting the parameters of experience that the person will have between the first and the seventh chakra. Okay, so from the first to the seventh, the spinal sweep will form the poles of expression from the first chakra to the seventh chakra. And in between those two poles is what will become filled in through experience or through manifestation of symptom.
Could you say something about what happens in the head? There's a lot of things that happen in the head here. You can have pressure in the temples, sensations in the head that can be painful or just feelings. Could you say a bit about that?
A lot of the physical transformation isn't defined within the specific comfort zones that a person has become used to. So within the context of the transformation that's taking place, often growth accompanies pain. Pain accompanies growth. Because of the completeness and the all-encompassive quality of the transformation, head pressures will develop. You'll have different pressures within the brain itself. You'll have a feeling of a vacuum in one side of the brain and a feeling of an altered air pressure in the other side. You'll have feelings in the base of the neck where it spreads upward and it's almost as if the top of the head has disappeared. Many different symptoms accompany the transformation and the infusion of Kundalini on the 7th chakra. Okay. The 7th chakra has effective reach to every aspect of the physical system, of the psychological system, the emotional system, the mental system, the spiritual system. The top of the head, what the Sanskriti people call the 1,000-petaled lotus. Okay, this has representation throughout the rest of the physical body. Okay, and when the infusion reaches into the crown chakra, those changes begin to become asserted upon the physical system. Well, the status quo that has been achieved from birth to the point of Kundalini infusion has now been altered. It has been changed. And that change will not always be easy for the individual ego or personality to metabolize. Okay. As this occurs, these different pressures will come and they will go. They are definitely transitory. They are not permanent. And even if it feels like, oh my gosh, I've had them for a year, they are still not permanent. It takes longer. It takes a lifetime and then some for the Kundalini to finish its work on a person, at least in a single lifetime. The Kundalini is carried forward into the next expression. But within the individual's lifetime, that transformation is constantly going. Even me, in my lifetime right now, with the awakened Kundalini, it continues to transform. I continue to open wider and wider and further. And so will the individual with the head pressures. Often, with pressures going from the base of the skull on up to the back of the head, is an extension of light, or it's almost a physical extension of an energetic presence that comes out and expands. And you'll see this on some of the old Vedic paintings of a Kundalini person within the infusion. The back of the head will become surrounded by a wide swath of energy that just extends on upward. Okay, and I'm not talking about the halo. The halo is a completely different scenario, which does also add to the different head pressures that a person can experience. But this cape from the nape of the neck extended upward, yes, this will also add to the pressure experiences that a person will have within the Kundalini infusion. Now the halo is different. Okay, the halo is from the temples and extending around the head. As it grows and matures, the halo expands outward. That in of itself, with the halo increasing its force, its frequency of effect upon the person, that can give some very definitive physiological phenomena that would tend to cause a person to feel out of balance, or get a headache, okay, or feel a sharp pain here or here or here. Okay, typically it won't manifest as an ajna or a third eye pain. Sometimes it can. A person will feel projections of energy that are coming out as spikes throughout the head. Okay, and this is all normal. This is perfectly normal. If a person has had a primary spinal sweep that has allowed the energy to come up and over through the forehead, exiting out the third eye right here, forming what the Egyptians show us, the ancient Egyptians show us as the uraeus, the serpent coming out of the forehead, which all the pharaohs had. Okay, and some of them had double uraeuses and all that, which goes back to the previous question about many different spinal sweeps, of course. Yes, absolutely. As the uraeus is expressed, this can also add to the pressures and the feelings of different activity happening within the skull at the same time that other manifestations are occurring on the body. Go ahead.
So typically when we feel things in our heads that are unusual, like pressures or headaches or, that are very different, we tend to want to get rid of it. Or how do we deal with that? How do
We don't want to try to control it at all.
So
The more your ego consciousness elicits control over these aspects, typically the worse they become. Okay? The more surrender that you can achieve, as in allowing these phenomena to occur, the less the pain will become. Now, it may not be immediate. I mean, you may not have a cessation of pain that is instantaneous, because your level of surrender has not been instantaneous. Okay? So in many cases, the level of surrender and the expressed pain will have a definitive relationship between each other. And the more you surrender, the less pain occurs. The more you resist, the more pain occurs. Okay. Now, in that regard, let's also talk about the chemicals of the brain, chemicals of the body. When the Kundalini achieves the primary spinal sweep, it changes the quality and the mechanical activity of the body and how it uses specific hormones and chemicals that are associated with brain chemistry, immune response, cardiovascular expression, reproductive expression, emotional expression. It will change those chemicals that are used by those specific bodies to perform specific, certain functions within the body. Okay, those chemicals can become unbalanced. You'll go to your local MD and he'll draw some blood and he'll look at it and say, oh, your TSH is off and your albumin is off, and all of these different code words they use for components of the blood. They'll find definitive imbalance within the blood and the expression of certain hormones or chemicals within the blood. This too is normal. Kundalini changes the body and the bodies from a molecular basis. It changes the entire frequency of how the body manifests the properties that can constitute the body. Once again, as these chemicals are altered and transformed by the Kundalini, so too is the flesh of the body, the cells of the body, the cells of the brain, the cells of the heart and the lungs, and the way you metabolize food, the way you metabolize oxygen, the way the different gases of the atmosphere are taken in and absorbed, used or not used. The whole balance of the entire physiological system is changed and undergoing change. Not the kind of change that we're talking about where, cells are born, cells replicate, and then they die. This is occurring as well, but everything else that I've been discussing is also occurring on top of that. And the cells themselves are receiving Kundalini. Cells have spinal cords. Cells have spinal cords. And within those cords themselves, they are having little mini cellular spinal sweeps. Okay, so it's very important to understand the totality of how Kundalini is responding and reacting within the body. How beautiful.